People have been asking me, what's the true color of your new truck? Because this terrain color from Ford is pretty cryptic. Is it brown? Is it white? Is it some kind of weird creamy off-white, like old half and half you left in the fridge for too long? What the heck color is this? So I actually went to Home Depot and got paint swatches so that you could know exactly what color this is and what kind of shade it is compared to other colors that are universally out there in the world. I also took my truck around and compared it to different colors around, like the Subaru orange color, a mural, and I even put it in bright sunlight and shade so we can see if the color looks any different there or not. Let's go compare the colors now. The first comparison we get is bright daylight and shade against this bright orange color that you can get from Subaru. And all the clips that I've filmed for this video are all with an iPhone 14 Pro in their standard camera mode, so that this is the most like universally recognized kind of color profile as far as what you would expect. I normally use like a big Fuji camera and I put different kind of colors on there and I do my own thing. So I'm not gonna do that creatively for this video. It's strictly straight out of iPhone. So then now as I walk around my truck, you can actually see what it looks like in the shade, because to my eyes, it does look a little bit different in the shade. And then I'm gonna stop it right here so you can see the color of Tesla red. This is a Model Y in front of me. I don't know if it's a Model Y or a Model X, but there's that typical Tesla red compared to my truck, which is terrain, compared to that orange Subaru color. So if you've seen any of those other colors in real life, you can kind of see how the terrain stacks up. Next, I parked the truck out in front of this mural, and it's not super duper saturated. It's more just to show you how this color compares with the other colors there in the mural. This is some kind of music club in Phoenix that I've never been to, but it's got a really cool mural, and so sometimes I park there and film some stuff because it looks so cool. To my eyes, you can see that when the sun is hitting it just right, it actually does have a tiny bit of a metallic flake in this color. It is so subtle. It's not a flat color by any means. It's got a little bit of glimmer to it, but it's nowhere near what I would say even standard paint is. This is kind of an understated, muted, just not that shiny of a paint color because I just didn't put that much flake in there. So right there when the sun shines just right, you can see it, but it's pretty hard to find. You have to really go looking for the flake to see it. And I think the color looks really good compared to the black accents everywhere. Obviously the grille is black, tires are black. A lot of these little accents like the mirror caps and the lariat badge and the bumpers down below and a bunch of different things are black. So I think the fact that almost everything in the truck is either black or terrain looks really good. And here's just the black of the key compared to the brown of the terrain color, just so you have that for reference. And some people have said that this color is white. They're like, oh yeah, I ordered a white truck too. Well, it's not really white. This piece of paper that I have now is the lot number from the dealer. That is pure white. So you can see the difference there between something that's actually white and this terrain color. It's a little bit more yellow, it's a little bit more brown, but it is far from pure white. And Ford does have a pure white color. It's called Oxford White. That's like every work truck you've ever seen, that's Oxford White. And so you can kind of see the difference between that and this. And then now I parked the truck here in the shade on the opposite side of the building. And granted, there's a big blue wall there, so it's probably reflecting some blue light onto the shadow side of this paint. But I wanted to show you, at least on the side that's away from the blue, what the general tone is in the shade. I think in partial darkness like this, when you're just parked in the shade but it's daytime, to my eyes the truck looks more brown, but whenever it's actually like really dark outside and there's no other light, I think the truck ends up looking basically white. Like if you just walked up to it in a dark parking lot, you'd probably just think it's a white truck because it's not that dark. But here in the shade compared to that white piece of paper, it's obviously a pretty big difference. And now comes the fun experiment where we actually go to Home Depot and get paint swatches to compare to this color, because what I really want to do is match it up and go, all right, anybody in America or anybody who has access to paint swatches, especially of bare paint, you can walk in there and go through and try and pick out something that matches this exact color. That's what I did. So I will give you the exact name and paint code of what matches this truck so that you can know without a shadow of a doubt what the paint color is. I think the best thing is going to be to go down here to these neutrals. And I'm just doing this by feel and by sight, like I've memorized the color by now. Turns out most of the samples I picked are pretty far off. Only one of them really got it dead on. All right, so now we've got our 4 paint swatches. We're just gonna walk out of the store because they're totally free. Not actually buying anything, going into Home Depot, that's a change for me. Let's go back out to the truck and hold these up and compare. So I've got a sunny area here and a shady area. Let's just lay these all out so we can compare them. I think so far we're pretty far off. I'm surprised at the kind of brown that it is, because that one on the bottom right is looking the closest to me, especially when you put it there in the shade. It's like a really good match, but I just didn't think it was that brown of a brown, if that makes sense. The other colors seem to look better, but man, now that I hold this one up, Safari Vest is the winner. The other ones are just not that close. Stucco Tan, Baja, Riviera Beach. It's just not the thing. So if you want to paint your house the color of Ford Terrain, then you just need this paint code, PPU722. It's a Bear Dynasty marquee paint called Safari Vest. This shot's just to show you what the contrast is between this terrain brown color and the trees behind it. You can kind of see the difference there between my truck's color and that Nissan Murano back there behind it that's getting out onto the road. That is white. and it's a lot brighter than mine is. And then now I wanted to show you this too here kind of at dusk. So right at sunset, I think everything is the most true to life, but it's also a little bit warmer. And so I like to take pictures at this time. I like to make videos at this time because it just looks the best to me. I like kind of a warmer tone. And so there is a little added warmth to the paint color here in these shots just because the sunlight's hitting it just at that right time of day, you know, when the sun's starting to go down. But this is, I think, in person, the truest look as far as what the paint color looks like whenever you walk up to it and you actually see it with your own eyes. Sometimes that stuff doesn't convey well on video, but in terms of what I see whenever I actually look at it, oh, I got a little piece of something here on my hood. Let's chip that off. This is really realistically what I see whenever I see it in person. Am I happy with the color? I've got to admit, whenever I very first saw it, I was kind of underwhelmed. I was like, oh, this is lacking some personality, or I don't know. It's almost like you'd either want to fit in totally and get like white or black or something that's very obvious, or you'd want to diverge from the norm and get something that really stands out. This is kind of neither. It's like a little bit of a different shade compared to most cars, but it's not something that's very shouty or noticeable or whatever. So initially I was kind of underwhelmed with it, and then now that I've lived with it for a week, I've had the truck for exactly a week, I actually really like it. I feel like it's recognizable, so you can like find it in a parking lot, you know it's yours, you haven't just gone with the flow of everyone else. But the reason I got it was so it didn't show dirt well, and that's what's happening. So I haven't washed it in a week. It's fairly dirty, and it doesn't look dirty at all, so I love it. And then of course I had to compare it to my dad's truck. So he's got this chili pepper red color from the Maverick, and if you're a Maverick shopper or you're just somebody who is interested in this kind of thing, you'll probably compare it to a like vehicle, and that's the way to do it here with these Mavericks. So his is chili pepper red at dusk. Mine is terrain right here also at dusk. And man, look how much his color just pops. I mean, it looks like this deep, almost candy apple red, like really powerful, bright red color. At times, his truck actually looks orange. It's definitely not, but it looks that way at times. And so I wanted to compare mine versus his. So at this time of day, that's what you get, a very saturated, interesting looking color. I think his is more beautiful. Frankly, that depth of that red and the flake in there, and the fact that the color is really kind of unique in that it looks red in some light like this. Other times it'll look more orange. Like, it's just a pretty unique color that I think stands out in the right ways. Mine's, you know, fairly boring, but that's fine. It's a work truck. It's meant to be boring, meant to get beat on for the next 10 years, and that's what we're gonna do. So now you know what I think about the truck, but what do you think? Let me know in a comment if you think that the truck color is great, it makes sense, or if it's super boring. I'm a little disappointed in the name of the paint swatch that I found that fits it. I'm like, Safari Vest. Is there something less stylish than a safari vest? Everyone knows what color that is. It makes it a lot less exciting than like Desert Runner, Truck, Baja Racer, which was kind of like the F-150 Raptor mantra and vibe whenever it came out in like 2013 with that color. I see a bunch of those online. Whenever I search for Ford terrain color, it's like all these really rough and tough looking Raptors. Doesn't really look that rough and tough on a Maverick, but let me know what your thoughts are. Also, if you missed the video seeing exactly how much I paid for my truck, it's right here. If you want to watch my review of an electric Mustang instead, that's right here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.